Hello, and welcome to Module 2 of Mastering CSS3. This is Margaret Meier de Cox, and in this movie I'll be walking you through color properties and special effects that you can use to improve your websites. We're going to look at the new color properties, which include transparency, as well as the opacity property, when to use which and what effect you'll get with either one. We're going to take a look at rounded corners using the border radius property. We'll look at drop shadows and other shadow effects for boxes, elements, as well as for text. And then last we'll look at gradients, both linear and radial gradients and combinations and repeating gradients, and look at the best ways to implement those. All of these special effects have the ability to enhance your website without using the images and other workarounds we've had to use in the past. Let's take a look at some examples using border radius. For this demonstration, I've opened up the pair of files called CSS3 effects rounded corners. There's a HTML file and an accompanying CSS file. If we take a quick look at the HTML file, I've set up a header element with an ID of test box and a span element with the ID of title text. And you can see the basic displayed in the Firefox browser that I have set up as a split screen. So if we take a look at the CSS file, at the top I just have some basic setup for the page itself, and in the test box I have given it dimension, set display to block, as well as added some padding and a 4-pixel border. At the very end of the CSS block we have the text for title text, and we have that styling. So let's take a look at some examples for working with. Let's look at some examples of using drop and text shadows. Let's open up our example files CSS3 effects box shadow, both HTML and CSS. If you take a look at the HTML, it's essentially set up the same. I have a header with the ID of text box and a span with the ID of title text. So we use this to experiment with some drop shadows, and then I have two commented out divs that we'll look at a little bit later. If we take a look at the CSS, I have at the top, of course, the basic setup for the page. It's similar to the last example, but a different color scheme. We set a border radius of 25 pixels for now. And then below that, I have my box shadow properties. The hyphenated WebKit one first, that would be just for older browsers. And since we're only going to be using desktop browsers and the newer version,